everybody, my name is Christian Aldo and welcome to the Plastic General. In today's episode, we're going to be checking out some 21st Century Toys armor that's been converted to what they call Panzer 46. Also, we're going to be checking out some Forces of Valor armor along with figure sets by Mars and Toy Soldiers of San Diego. Sound exciting? Let's go to war. Fire! So the first exciting subject we're going to go into today is something called Panzer 46. Now there's a whole World War II culture built around the prospects of Panzer 46, which means it's all about German armor that they either only made a few prototypes of, or German armor that was on the drawing board, or tanks that were sort of projected where they were going, what they were going to evolve into. So the first one we're going to go into today is a 21st Century Toys Panther, but not me. I went and converted this regular Panther D into the legendary Panther with F turret, also featuring infrared night vision. Now, let's take a little tour around this Panther. Okay, let's take a tour around the anatomy of a Panther F. So the first thing they did is they changed the basic shape of the turret, and it's called the narrow turret. It's almost in the shape of a diamond. It's got very slanted. It's a smaller but more narrowly shaped turret. And then on the sides, you'll notice there are circular, they're three-dimensional range finders. So this is how you could zero in on your target better. On the top of the tank is an infrared lantern so that they could do night vision fighting. And on the roof of the tank would be a thin plate of metal to protect from dive bombers or aircraft firing down on the tank. Now here in the front is more infrared night vision. So this tank was a night hunter in this particular case. If it doesn't have that, then it can just be a regular Panther F. And there's the turret with no shields on it. So there you have them. Panther Fs, both with night vision and with the normal Panther F. And of course, I made these both from existing 21st Century Toys 132 scale Panthers. That's the beauty of 21st Century Toys armor. If you can get your hands on it, they're great for conversions. So the next 21st Century Toys conversion is of the dreaded King Tiger. Now, what's more dreaded than a King Tiger tank? What they call an E75. Enter the E75. So let's take a little tour around this beast. Okay, the first thing I did is I added the telescopic rangefinders, the three-dimensional rangefinders. I also replaced the gun to a 100 millimeter gun, and I made this muzzle brake. Also, I gave the E75 a infrared night fighting device. And if you make your way down here, the skirts were removed because it would have been 1946, so the Germans don't have time to screw around. Skirts were not really essential. Also, the ball turret machine gun mount has been removed also because they figured that it wasn't as important because they have Panzer Grenadiers. And also the hull here, the hull front has more infrared rangefinders or infrared night vision. And the back, its muffler system has been changed to something that's more, efficient, maybe even more silent. And it just looks like a mean, heavy tank that wants to destroy. And that is exactly what we do on the battlefield. So there you have it. The E-75, originally created by 21st Century Toys, eventually converted by the Plastic General. So the first figure set that we're going to look at is created by Mars. And I love Mars. It's one of my favorite toy soldier companies in the whole world. This set is called the Luftwaffe Field Division. And a little background about them. These troops would be the men that would man all of the anti-aircraft guns protecting Germany. But unfortunately for Germany, as they started to lose the war and enemy soldiers were entering certain areas, they would pull of these men off of the anti-aircraft guns and put them into kind of regular infantry roles, which kind of made them kind of like second-rate infantry soldiers. But nevertheless, they were used in battle, and that is what this set is. German Luftwaffe Field Division in combat. Here we go. The first of the two poses is a commander running, firing a sidearm, and the second is a figure running, firing an MP-40 submachine gun. Now also, the Luftwaffe Field Division, they would wear clothing that would have been supplied by the Luftwaffe Air Force. So that's why sometimes they're wearing clothing that kind of resembles something that German paratroopers would wear, or they'd be wearing like long protective coats and stuff like that. Poses 3 and 4. Figure standing sharpshooting Mauser rifle and throwing potato masher hand grenade. So you can see they're kind of wearing some of the clothes that would have been issued to German paratroopers. Okay, what I'm wearing here is a Zeltbahn quarter shelter. So this is a waterproof poncho that can be made into like a little micro tent, or it can be used as a poncho to protect people, to protect a soldier from the rain and the elements. So because the Luftwaffe Field Division would always be standing in a field with anti-aircraft, waiting for airplanes to fly by, they'd spend a lot of time out in the rain or the elements, and that's what this was. So the next 4 figures in the 8-pose set, all of the figures are wearing these Zeltbahns, which is really cool that Mars did this because nobody had ever really done Zeltbahns before. So poses 5 and 6, wearing Zeltbahns, standing sharp shooting Mauser, and firing MP-40 submachine gun from mid-upper chest. Cool figures. And poses 7 and 8, kneeling, firing a Panzerfaust anti-tank weapon, and standing, receiving a bullet, being immortalized in plastic for all eternity. Okay, so the first of my 2 conversions that I made from this set was kneeling, firing MP-40, and I created him from the Panzerfaust pose and the standing, firing MP-40 pose. Easy to do, just cut them off at the waist and glue them. And the last pose and my second conversion is standing, firing a Panzerfaust, cross-pollinated from this figure and this figure. And of course, wearing a Zeltbahn, which makes them extra cool. So here they are, all 8 poses plus my 2 conversion poses of Mars 132 scale Luftwaffe Field Division, and many of them in Zeltbahns. And for our next piece of heavy armor, may I introduce the American Pershing heavy tank, a tank that was introduced late in 1944. I think only 80 of them actually saw the European battlefield. Most of them didn't even end up seeing battle, sadly. But 2 were actually knocked out in combat. But how they did, they fared quite well. And this particular model is by Forces of Valor. And it's an awesome, awesome 132 scale model. I highly recommend this. Okay, for the next set, may I introduce the U.S. Winter Infantry in Greatcoats by Toy Soldiers of San Diego. And, of course, they're wearing their long winter coats, and these figures are great for any sort of winter scenario. The first figure is standing sharpshooting a Garand rifle, and the other figure is kneeling sharpshooting a Garand. Now, sadly, when Toy Soldiers of San Diego made this set, 4 of the poses were regular U.S. infantry, and 4 of the poses were the much, much, much needed U.S. infantry in long coats. I don't know why they didn't make all 8 poses in long coats, but they didn't. They only did 4 poses, and that angered me greatly. Poses 3 and 4. Running with rifle and bayonet, with a bandage around his head, obviously been wounded, and the other one seems to be a commander or an NCO beckoning his troops to move forward. You know, a figure set tells a story, and you can't tell much of a story with only 4 poses. So the Plastic General rebels and will create conversions, and you're going to see them now. The first of my 2 conversions are figures they're kind of advancing, and they're both holding different types of weapons, and but they're both getting ready to hurl grenades. And I made both of those figures from its parent figure, which was that commander that you saw. So here's a nice close look at them. They were easy to do, just removing arms and legs and helmets. In some of the cases, I replaced them with heads from the Toy Soldiers of San Diego Marines. Conversions 3 and 4. A figure holding on to a backpack firing a pistol, and the other figure advancing with rifle. And I made these figures from this charging wounded guy. But, you know, I can't have any more than 1 wounded guy, so basically, as you can see, I replaced the wounded head with a helmeted head, and I removed the bayonet. But at least I was able to get this this set of 4 poses with greatcoats up to 8 poses. You know, I gotta mention this. You may have noticed this little hunk of meat taken off of my finger. You got to be very careful when making conversions. You know, like I added a brand new razor onto my handle, and I was cutting something off, and flick, a hunk of meat flew off of my finger, almost as big as a helmet. When I found it again a few hours later, I thought it was a plastic helmet that fell on the ground. No, it was a piece of my finger. So be extremely careful when making conversions, not to take your eye out with these very dangerous blades. So here's my group of U.S. American infantry in long winter coats. 4 of the poses are original by Toy Soldiers of San Diego, and 4 of them are conversions. Very useful. Note that Mars Toy Soldiers are going to be coming out with a true 132 scale set of 8 poses of U.S. infantry in long coats, which is much needed to add to these, and I'm really looking forward to them. that was exciting. Bullets were flying everywhere. So this pretty much wraps it up, but please remember to hit the subscription button right there, and then hit the little bell afterwards so that I can always send you our latest episode. And hit the like button, of course. But you know, it's really important to me that if you noticed an inaccuracy, or there's a criticism, or if, let's say, you have a request of something you'd like us to cover in an upcoming episode, please put that in there. If you hate me and you want me dead, I want you to put that in there too. I love interacting with the people that watch this show. So please do that, okay? My name is Christian Aldo, and I'm the Plastic General, and I look forward to showing you our next episode later this week. Ciao for now.